today's tutorial. Today I'm going to cover how to make a book in Lightroom. I'm going to focus more on the technique of making it in Lightroom, not so much on the design. I'm thinking I might include another lecture next week to talk more about like how to design a book from like an artistic perspective, but just in terms of like how to do it, we'll talk about that today. We're going to be doing it using Lightroom. If you're going to be creating your Blurb book in any other type of software, it'll be slightly different, and I'll tell you guys how to do that later. So I'm going to open up Lightroom here, and I'm going to go to my library module. And as you can see here, I have a lot of photographs. These are the same photographs that I took the last time we did a tutorial. These are from the Baker Motel on the inside. And I'm going to go ahead and just use these for my example today. So your workflow in this case typically would be to, of course, open up your images in Lightroom and catalog them, put them in the same catalog each week. And then once you are going through week to week, processing your images, uploading them, you're going to be probably like starring your favorites. Like in this case, I added the attribute of the stars on the ones I like the most. So 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. Could also use the flag tool if you want to, or color or whatever, but basically you just want to select your best photos for the book. I think I have a minimum of 25 in my project requirements. In this case, I started at 378 photographs for this project, and now I'm down to like 30. It's kind of what you want to do is you want to make sure that you just filter out just the photos that you want for the book. So again, you go over to attributes and click on the star system. It's only showing me the 3-star photos. This is an important step because it's going to help later. Once I'm only showing the photos I want, another step which you could do is you could also select all the photos that you have rated 3 stars and go to File, New Collection. Let's see, where is that? Up here. Save Quick Collection. I'm going to go over here where it says collections, and I'm just going to hit plus, create collections, and I'll just call this like book final photos as well. And that would just create me another, it just makes it another way. I can click over here and just show only the book photos if I want to. That's just another way of creating like a grouping within Lightroom. Okay, anyways, once I've created a grouping or a collection, or I'm showing only the rated photos, I'll go over to the book section here, or the book module that's right next to develop, so it's pretty simple. And then once you do that, you'll see probably something that looks like this. If it doesn't look like this, then go down, it might look like this or this. Down here in this area here at the bottom of the screen, there's different view options. It's not that dissimilar than the library module in Lightroom. So over here you can do a multi-page view. As you can see here, Lightroom has already constructed a book for me, and this is what it looks like. I don't want Lightroom to do this for me this way. I want to do this a little bit more manually. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move my mouse over to this side of Lightroom on the right, and I'm going to click on the button here that says Clear Layout. And I just want to start with a blank book, and I'm going to show you how to make one from scratch. Okay, you'll see right up here it says Standard Landscape, 10 by 8 inches, $50.99. So if I were to send this book off to Lightroom as it is with no images or no text or anything, they're saying it would cost $50 to produce this book. I'm going to move over here under book settings, and this is important. So under book settings, what I can change here are some of the settings to make the book look different. So like, for example, I can pick a different size if I want to. I can make a small square book, a standard portrait, standard landscape, or a large. And as you can probably imagine, the bigger the book, the more expensive it is going to be to produce. Let's say a standard landscape at $50. If I go to small square, it's going to tell me you're changing your book size, and your pages are going to change. I don't need to know that. Now it goes down about $8 to $42. And if you really want to go cheap on a book, you can change your cover from hardcover dust jacket to hardcover image wrap, and you can also change it to soft cover. Let's say, for example, soft cover. This is probably one of the cheaper ways to do it. If you do a soft cover book, it's square format, it's $24.99. There's also paper type here. So the paper types you can select are standard, Proline, and premium matte, or premium luster and matte. So I'll just go through these. Premium luster and matte, they're going to be a fiber-based paper. They're going to be the most thickest, most expensive type of paper that you can do. So if you're really proud of your book, you might want to consider these two options. But I've always been very happy with Proline Pearl Photo. That's a kind of a semi-gloss. And Proline Uncoated is more of a matte finish, meaning that you don't see reflections in it. But I like the Pearl Photo. I actually use the same type of paper, and I've used this for my wedding album. I've used it for other books as well. I like this one. It's a pretty good deal. You can also go for standard. I've never used standard before. I don't know how that's going to affect the quality. So I'd probably just stick to this one if you can. And then where it says logo page, if you have logo page on, notice over here on the back page, there's going to be a Blurb logo. If you take that off, you're going to be paying more because they discount your book if you put a logo on it. So if you hit none, you'll notice that it goes up a few bucks. So I'll keep that on. And probably what I'd recommend if you're budget conscious is a standard landscape soft cover. That's $32. Now at the end of this, I'm going to give you guys a tip on getting a discount on books too. Usually Blurb offers, I think, a 10% discount if you go online and fill out like a form or something. They'll give you a coupon code. So we'll cover that later. But so right now, $32.99. I tend to like the hardcovers, so I might keep that on. But anyways, you can pick your options here that you want to work with. Okay, so let's talk about the book construction. So right now I don't have anything in my book. It's completely blank. So what I'm going to do is I'll add a few pages to start with. So right now I'll add about 10 pages, and they're all blank. My cover's blank. Page 1 is blank. This page you can't actually put an image on because it's actually part of the cover. Same with this one here. So all of the pages here you can work with. So I guess the most simple way to make a book is you can down here on the bottom is all the thumbnails of all the photos that you put in a collection or all the photos that you rated. So that makes it really easy. I can just go through every photo and just pick out the ones I want and put them in my book wherever I want. So let's say, for example, the first page, I want this image here of the door of the Baker Hotel. I can just click and drag that over the first page, and then it'll create what's called a full bleed image. It's going to go cover the whole page. Now you'll notice that, or maybe you won't notice, but if you look at it, the images that I'm putting in here are cropped. Obviously, the vertical picture is going to be cropped if I put it into a landscape frame, but look at even this one here. It's actually cropping the edges because the size of the landscape is not, I'm sorry, the size of the book is not the same as the picture, so it's cropping a little bit off the edges. Notice that if I click on here, it says zoom, and I can zoom back out, and we can see the full photo. And I can make it smaller, or I could zoom in if I want to. I could even just focus on the door. As long as my images are big enough in size, I could zoom in pretty closely. If Blurb detects that there might be some resolution loss, or your images might not look good because you're blowing them up too big, it'll let you know. So you could do that, and you could just put images like this into your book, very, very much like this. And a lot of my students do this. I don't recommend it because generally, if you make every image of your book be a large scale image, I think it actually takes power away from the images, in the sense if every image is really big, every image is really loud, then it just doesn't have a flow to it. So maybe what I would recommend, and I'll talk a little bit more about this when I talk about book design next week, is sort of mixing up a bit. Look, you have other options. For example, if I click on page 3 here, what I can do is that there's a button down here. I can click on that and I can modify the page, and you'll see that you have all of these templates that you can use. For example, there's a template where it'll make it look like a full image here. There's one that has a sort of like a border that you can add around. Now, it's important to note too that this grid surface that you see here, all that means is it's transparent. It doesn't mean that that grid's going to print out. When you print this, this will be white. Actually, I'll show you why the grid's on there in a second. But you can go through any one of these preset templates. Like for example, this one here, if I click on that one, you'll notice that it has a text box here. And if you wanted to add text, all you have to do is click the text box and add some text. And this might be useful to describe the image that you are putting in. I know many of you had ideas where you wanted to add text, whether it would be cookbooks or history books. You can add text to obviously give an explanation or a caption to the image, which is going to make your book more understandable to a wider audience. You might just want to add a title, a small phrase, or you might want to add a full paragraph. You can do whatever you want to do, just type it in. So I'm just typing this as an example. Now you'll notice that this text is really small, so I can't really see what I'm typing. So what you could do as well is down here, there's some view options. You can zoom in on your page here by clicking on the second of the two zoom options. This is shows a spread. A spread means like both pages together, or you can just show the image one at a time. And this kind of helps you when you're typing, and it makes it easier to see if you make like a typo or something, you can fix it. So if you're typing in a text box, you can just go ahead and type, and then you'll notice that here on the other side, on the right side, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see that you have some type options, like where it says type, and you can just play with the size if you want to. You can play with the font, all the things that you probably already understand. All your alignment options, your text options are down here. Font size, bold, italic, all that kind of stuff. And then you can just put that in here, and then when you're ready to zoom back out, you just click on the button here, and you can start here. Another thing you can do actually is you can start with, and this is how oftentimes how I decide to make a page, is I'll start with one of the templates. Let's say this one here. I'll put some photos in, and what you can do is you can actually play around with the templates. If you click on the template, you'll notice that you have all these boxes that you can click on. You can move the image around, and the great thing that this does is it automatically resizes the image to fit in your box. So you can see it resizes it to fit the whole image about here, and then if you make it smaller, it'll kind of zoom in a bit, but you can move the image within the image box as well if you need to. So oftentimes what I do is I'll start with one of the templates, and then maybe I'll just kind of create my own layout by just kind of moving things around. Like maybe I want something that looks more like this, or maybe I want something that looks like something that doesn't exist in these templates. Like let's say I'll click on this middle yellow box here that allows me to move the photo over. I'll line them up like this, and then I'll create another box here, a vertical box. So what you can do is if you right click here and it goes, or you see where it says add cell, just click on photo, and you can do that. Lightroom does a really good job of lining things up, so you can do that. And you can also use the grid underneath to kind of see where you're at and make sure things line up. So you can just add a photo, like you want this really weird vertical alignment. You can do that if you have a really vertical photo that would fit into that. Maybe in this case it helps that I crop out part of the photo, so that vertical alignment helps. So yeah, you can do that, and if you do that, you can do that for one page. Or what you can do is you can make this you can save this layout. So go to right click on the page and go where it says save as custom page. Just save it, and then when you go to your go to another page, a blank page here, you'll see an option where it says custom pages, and then you can see that layout and you can use that layout again. So you can make all types of layouts. Like for another example here is on this one, you can go to, like, let's say for example, 2-page spread, and you can click on that layout, and you can put a whole photograph that'll fit among 2 pages. Now obviously this will do some heavy cropping, and you can zoom in or zoom out. If you zoom out, you'll have some space on this side and this side to work with. You can add more photos over here. Like you can add another cell. You can add some text. If you go to add cell and go to photo description, that's basically a text box that you can add. You can do all these things if you want to. It's up to you. I'd recommend that if you do add a spread, make sure that make note of this area here. This is called the gutter, or the area where the stitching is of the book, or the in between the two pages. And you want to make sure that you put your photograph in a place where nothing important in the image lies in the gutter. So you might want to move that gutter to be like right here where there's like nothing but like blank wall, and then you can position your other elements around that. And this could be a nice design, if you will. And if you decide not to do anything, or you don't like this, you can very easily hit the delete key. I think you hit the delete key, right? You select it, hit delete. No. Okay, you right click and do remove selected cell. Right click. Right clicking on any one of these pages will give you all the options that you need to do anything. So adding pages, copying layouts, removing cells, things like that. And you can just continue to add pages. You can remove pages. If you don't like this page, you can just get rid of it. And you can just keep doing that for each one, all the way through until you've added all your images into the book. Let's see here. I mean, you'll notice that okay, so my price right now is at $32.99. If I add a bunch of pages, let's see here. I'm adding 11, 32. So the price doesn't go up if I add pages to a point. Let's see here. So for $32.99, I can get up to 20 pages. Now, once I start adding pages after 20, it starts to go up about $1 per page. So keep that in mind too. You don't want your book to not have enough pages, because otherwise it'll just look bad. So try to get in as many pages. If you have like 25 or 30 images for your book, 20 pages will work out just fine. If you do one image per page, or you mix things up a bit, you'll still have space to do that. So I just wanted to let you know that this price that's here will go up if you go over a certain amount of pages. So I would probably do at least the minimum of 20, but then if you want to go up, that's on your own. It just depends on how proud of the book you are. If you want to make it really, really long, but by all means, it's up to you. Just make the pages and then just continue to add your images in as you shoot. Like you could even start this now in week 2. You can start designing the book a little bit, or just playing with some different designs, and then as you shoot and add more photos in week 3 and 4 of the project, you can add more stuff here. So let me just kind of see if there's anything I haven't covered here. Of the settings that are here, the book settings, you can always change these. Like you can have a book already started and decide you want to change to like hardcover. You just do that. The price up here will change, but nothing else will change. If you change the size, it might mess things up a bit. You'll have to reformat some things, but that's up to you. Let's see here. And you can add pages over here. So the guides here, if you click this off show guides, then you'll see the white pages. So if you're annoyed by having like these grids that you won't see on the final print, then you can get rid of them just by clicking this checkbox here. I like to keep them because it just kind of helps me design things. I can remember that they're not going to be there. Right here where it says photo text, if you click on a photo and you click on photo text, it will add a text box right over the photo here, or right underneath it. This is different than going to right click, add a cell, photo description, because the photo description box you can move around and make any size you want. And this one, for some reason, is tethered to this one spot, and it's hard to move. Or if you do move it, you can only move it up and down or below. It's just weird. I don't use this very often, the photo text. I'd rather be able to just make my own text box and move it where I want. So I just don't click that. If you click page text, you'll see page numbers on the bottom. It's up to you if you want to do that. Most photo books don't have that, just because unless they're very text heavy, there's no need to really know what page you're on, I guess. And then if you wanted to, I wouldn't suggest it, but you can add backgrounds. Like you can add a background color. If you wanted the pages to be a different color, just click OK there, and you can make it any color you want. Basically, if you just move the slider and you say you want them to be purple, you can make them purple. Now, I wouldn't recommend this, but you can do it if you want. That's right here. Generally, I don't recommend colors. If you have a photo book, and you look at any photo book, you'll notice the pages are white because you don't want a color. If there's a bright color around the photograph, it'll actually an optical illusion will happen where you'll see the color surrounding the photograph in the photograph. So if I put a purple background around the photograph's going to look more purple. So generally photographers avoid using any kind of graphics or colors for their background. But if you want to do that, those are here. And basically, just put all the images in your book and just work on the different pages. It's okay to have different templates on different pages. I actually think that can add a sense of variety to the book. It's maybe a better thing to do. Again, I'll talk more about like design ideas later, but just to kind of see, once you put an image in, you can modify or change the look of each page really easily. And you just do this until you get all your images in the book. Oh, and I didn't bring up the cover. The cover's right here. So, it kind of works the same way. Put an image for the cover. For thinking about a cover image, you want to think about an image that's going to be a nice introduction to the book. Like the front door of the Baker Hotel would make sense, or if I had an outdoor picture, I might want to put that in. I actually don't here, so I might want to go back and reshoot. But find a picture that will kind of set it up and put that up here. And the same with the back image. The back image, you want to find an image. It's a nice closer image, and put that in there as well. So, and all the same rules are at play here. The different templates that exist. There's actually slightly different templates because there's covers. So you can have like a cover that's like half image, half text. You can have a cover that is a full page spread. You can just play around with those however you want. Generally like for a cover, let's say, here I would just put in the image and then I would put in a text box over it. So I would click on add photo description, add that there, and just type in whatever you want. Let me zoom in here. Baker Hotel. By Chris Ireland. And then what you'd want to do in this case, obviously, is you'd want the text to be nice and big. So, maybe change the font to whatever you want. Always been an Avanar guy. And change the size. Make it nice and big. Maybe bold. And just put it wherever you want. Now, the problem with this text is that if I were to position this anywhere in my image, it could be easy to get lost because the image is dark. So a smart thing to do would just be to select the text and make it white, or a color that would contrast with the background. So, there you go. That's I could spend more time on the design here, but again, I'll tell you about how to do that next week. So, but then, that's there if you want. There's not much of a spine here with the soft cover, but if I switch to the hardcover version of this book, hardcover dust jacket, you'll notice that it changes a little bit. Now I have this space here where I can add a title, and the title is automatically vertical, so I can put the title in Baker Hotel by Chris Ireland. I can position that there. I could also center it if I want to. Do whatever I want. I think I can drag this photo here over that as well. Whatever. You can do whatever you want there, but it's slightly different because it's a dust jacket. And if you've ever seen a book with a dust jacket, you'll know that there'll be a dust jacket part here. And in that dust jacket, they actually by default put a text column here, so you can add some text if you want to. Like I said, it's always good to have some text, even if if your project is image based, having some text will be good. Just again, give an introduction to what it is, because a person reading the book for the first time may not know that. And there's that. I didn't mention, but there's this other option called image wrap. When you do image wrap, you'll notice that it doesn't have the jacket flaps. It actually literally prints the image on the cover. So you have like a hard cover with an image on it. And it looks pretty good. I've seen these before. It's a good option too. And I don't think it doesn't cost any more than doing the dust jacket. So either way is fine. So anyways, once you're done setting up the book and you put images on every page, then all you need to do to finish is go to where it says send book to Blurb. Once you're finished, you can send the book to Blurb and it will print it out for you. It'll send the image to Blurb. You'll actually literally see a progress window appear saying sending image to Blurb. And once it sends, you get an email from Blurb saying, hey, we got your book. Are you ready to order it now? And that is the part where you say yes and you pay for it and you send me the receipt at the end of the semester. One thing I want to notice or want to tell you too is that when you're working on a book, you can go back to your library. You can even shut Lightroom down. Let's say you work on it once and you want to go back to it. So you shut it down, you open it back up, and your book will still be there. Just click on, you go back to the library module here, and then you go back to the book module, and it should still be there. If it looks like this, make sure to go back down here to the view section, and so your book will be there too. So you can start designing your book, and then you can decide to go back to it later and finish it up if you want to. You can also go up here if you really want to be careful and click create saved book, and this will create a saved book file. It says it's inside book final, include only used photos. So let's say hey create here, and then when I'm in my library, they'll show me a book template that I can use here, and I can just go to that. This is the reason why this exists is because you can actually create multiple different book files in case you want to make different designs. But in most cases, you won't need to do that. If you're just doing one, then it will appear there for you. You might feel more comfortable just doing this at the end and just doing it all at once, or working on it over time. Either way, it'll be there for you, and you can finish it. So like I said before, when you're finishing, just click send book to Blurb. Lightroom will inform you when it's finished sending the book. It'll take a few minutes because there's a lot of data being transferred. So if your internet connection is spotty, that might come into play. But once it's sent, again, Blurb will contact you and say, are you ready to order? They'll actually have your book on file. Once you get to that point, you go through the Blurb interface and you order the book. And I'll show you how to do that in another podcast or another tutorial. So that's all I have for today. I'll stop there for now. And I'll see you guys again, or I'll have more for you next week about design and working with Blurb.